Now at 9, we'll hear from officials with the city of Carthage, Missouri as that community figures out how it will tax recreational marijuana sales. Plus, this year to celebrate that milestone anniversary, and how Thursday event helps invest money back into the community.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. The man who Crawford County authorities say was involved in several incidents with gunfire, including shooting at law enforcement, has been charged. Aaron Swink is charged with several counts, ranging from first-degree attempted murder to assault of law enforcement officer, criminal threat, and aggravated assault, among other charges. Crawford County authorities last week searched the Pittsburgh area for more than 10 hours before finding and arresting Swink. They say he shot at a vehicle, a building, and exchanged gunfire with deputies leading up to the search. And now to Weather Chief Meteorologist Doug Cady joins us.
Well, of course, we had showers. We had thunderstorms for us late afternoon, well, middle of the afternoon into the evening hours. Now our cold front is through. We still have some light showers, even a few light little snow showers out there, which is kind of crazy. But 61 for a high, average high 60, so right where we should be for this time of the year. You can see all the thunderstorms rolling off toward the east. But look at this, little bands of light snow pushing through southeastern Kansas. This is very light, but when these little bands push through, we may get a quick little dusting across the region. Look at the temps, now into the mid 30s. It's windy, it's going to stay windy throughout the overnight hours for us tonight, and significantly cooler over the next few days. So of course, we're going to look into the weekend, all coming up here in just a little bit.
All right, we'll see that. The city of Carthage is looking to raise the sales tax on recreational marijuana. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
Carthage City Council has voted to call an election on the question of whether to impose an additional 3% sales tax on recreational marijuana. Voters will see this on the upcoming ballot.
The City Council voted unanimously to approve that tax. It's something that's allowed by the new amendment that passed to allow cities to collect taxes to kind of help offset the cost of this type of thing.
With the additional 3%, the city is expecting to generate more than $50,000 within the first year for the city's general fund.
So I don't believe that the amount would change because 3% is what cities are allowed to charge by law. And so they couldn't go over that unless there was an amendment that was passed to allow cities to change that percentage.
The amendment that legalized recreational use already placed a 6% sales tax by the state of Missouri. The amendment also authorized local governments to impose an additional 3% sales tax on recreational use.
I don't think that it will affect our business very much at all. I do think it will affect the community greatly, though. I think that it's a relatively low number. It's 3% for the city tax. Even when you add that up with the cannabis tax, the state tax, county, everything like that, it still totals to be one of the lowest, if not the lowest total tax rate in the country for cannabis.
The local dispensary supports the additional sales tax because the community will directly benefit from it.
It's a really good thing. We're making a lot of people feel a lot better, and then you add on a little bit of extra tax revenue to the communities on top of that, then I think we're doing a lot of good for the city of Carthage.
Reporting in Carthage, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Jasper County has its own recreational marijuana sales tax question on the April ballot, as do several municipalities within the county, including both Joplin and Webb City. Joplin's first third Thursday of the year was today. The rain interrupted much of the festivities. This is video from previous events. Every third Thursday features a variety of local nonprofits, businesses, and food vendors. Every vendor you see must pay a fee to the Downtown Joplin Alliance to be a part of the community event. Those funds are used to keep the event going and reinvest into the community. According to the executive director of the Alliance, Lori Hahn, a different local charity or organization is selected to receive the funds.
And then we work a lot with vacant buildings and prospective developers and stuff, trying to fill buildings that have been vacant or are vacant. The Olivia is a good example of that, or like right now we're working on the depot to try to find developers for that.
Third Thursday runs from March till October. Joplin will be celebrating its 150th birthday next week. KOAM Jean Nahoudala talked with a historian and a visitors bureau about the celebration events happening throughout the year.
The city of Joplin is inviting residents to celebrate the city turning 150 years old.
We're going to try to spread the word of history in different venues, and what we're going to be using is film, we're going to be using music, and we're going to be doing lectures. So we got a great smorgasbord of different events for us to learn more about our great country and our history of our city as well.
The events are free of cost, thanks to sponsors and fundraising. For those wanting to support the celebration, there's 150th merchandise available.
The public can help by buying one of the Centennial commemorative coins, and those are available at all the Joplin, Southwest Missouri Bank locations, and they're $20 for a commemorative coin, and that money goes back to help us put on the event.
Organizers planned a birthday party for March 23rd at the City Hall. Brad Belk will talk about the almost 50 years old Thomas Hart Benton mural and more.
Well, we would have never got our start without mining, and primarily it began first as lead, and then later it transitioned into zinc. But for 75 years, it was our central economy.
You know, we've got to celebrate the mining history, the events that have taken us 150 years to get here. But how do we set people up to be inspired for the next 150 years to carry Joplin forward?
In Joplin, Jean Nahoudala, KOAM News.
Patrick Tuttle says more events celebrating Joplin's 150th year will be announced soon. A link to the current list of events can be found on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. It's never too early to learn about electricity safety. Kansas State today hosted an electric safety training event at Altamont, Kansas. The goal of the event is to help 14 and 15-year-olds learn how to react to a situation with electrical wires exposed and how it can be unsafe on farm equipment. One tip they learned: take it slow.
Safety is extremely important around farm equipment, big pieces of machinery. It's extremely important when you're operating it to be aware of your surroundings and also have a better understanding how it works even when you're not operating it.
It's a two-day event and will continue tomorrow. Teens must attend both days of the event to become certified. The event costs $10. It's spring break for some areas in southeast Kansas. That includes the Curious Minds Discovery Zone Children's Museum in Parsons. Some kids at Curious Minds got the creative juices flowing with some stories. Today the museum did toddler time, which included reading a story and creating a storybook. There's a lot to do for kids at the museum during spring break.
So every week we offer 3 elements of programming in the morning, Thursdays and Fridays, and then after school on Thursdays for after school age kids. But then we have special events and activities that we plan.
The Children's Museum has extended hours during the break. It's located at 1610 South 21st Street in Parsons. Coming up, bringing light to some common issues.
Social media influencers dealing with health issues are making an impact on the nation's healthcare system. I'm Alexis McAdams in New York. I'll have that story coming up next.
Some influencers are making their mark on the healthcare system one social media post at a time. Many are using different platforms to connect with people going through similar health problems. Fox News correspondent Alexis McAdams has more from New York.
But we're also seeing brands work with patients and leveraging their power.
Social media influencers may be changing the healthcare industry. Some influencers who are struggling with healthcare issues are now using their platforms to build small communities with other patients, talking about various topics like prescription medication and different illnesses.
They do it in a variety of ways, like patient panels, advisory boards. That's always happened. But now we're also seeing pharmaceutical companies send content to patients, asking them to post and promote certain drugs or raise awareness about certain diseases, and that practice needs more investigation.
Experts say information sharing is healthy for patients, but they should still talk to their primary care providers or a licensed medical specialist in order to get the full picture. The new trend has many thinking about the potential dangers.
We're seeing lots of counterfeit medications being sold, lots of illegal drugs being sold on social media. And so we really don't want to drive, drug use by promotion. We want to drive drug use by need.
In some cases, these ads can even cause medication shortages or increases in pricing.
We just need to be aware of what's happening. Where can we educate patients and where can we raise awareness about these issues?
Experts suggest we might see a lot more targeted advertising with patient influencers in the future. In New York, I'm Alexis McAdams, Fox News.
A new study in JAMA Network found children living in disadvantaged neighborhoods have a 60% greater likelihood of being diagnosed with primary hypertension. That could lead to heart disease later in life. Researchers in Delaware analyzed the records of more than 65,000 Medicaid patients ages 8 to 18 and found the link was rivaled only by an obesity diagnosis. Northwestern Medicine launched a new clinical program for patients with stage 4 lung cancer. That's after successfully performing a double lung transplant on a second patient with advanced disease confined to the lungs. Lung cancer is the third most common cancer in the U.S. and also the deadliest. And Doug is back with a complete look at the forecast and later. Webb City Baseball prepares for tomorrow's season opener. We'll hear from the team in sports.
Well, of course, we had the clouds. It was mild. Then we had the showers. We had the thunderstorms during the afternoon. Now that colder air is rushing in. We'll continue to do so as we go through the overnight hours. Still a little wet out there, which you can see. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, part of the area is still under a wind advisory through the night because it's windy. Winds are gusting 30, upwards to 40. You can see all the showers and thunderstorms continuing to press off toward the east. All the big time severe weather stuck in southern Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, and parts of Texas. Northeastern Texas has just been rocked throughout the evening hours. And then look at this. We got light little snow showers pushing through southeastern Kansas. Now, these aren't heavy. These are light. You can see a little shower right around Girard, and then from Yates Center down to Fredonia, Neodesha, Chanute, Iola, Humboldt. These aren't really going to amount to much. We could get a dusting in spots. That's really just about it, but pretty big switch throughout the daytime hours today. Let's go outside. 37 northerly winds at 17, of course, gusts higher than that. Humidity is at 86%. It's getting cold across the region. It's 35 in Yates Center. It's 39 in Miami, 37 in Neosho. Carthage is at 36 degrees. And here's our front racing now southeastern Missouri, just to the west of Little Rock. Look at the cold air plunging in behind it, and it's going to be significantly colder as we go through the next, 3 or 4 days. Plus, still windy. We got these northwesterly winds, 10 to 20, but the gusts are still up there. We're still getting wind gusts, 35, 40, and these are going to stick around tonight and then slowly start to taper as we go through the next couple days. But look at our wind gusts. By the time we get into the morning hours, still 35 to 40. As we go through the day, they slowly start to crank down, but it's at least going to be windy tomorrow. It's going to at least be breezy on Saturday, which gives us a low wind chill factor. All right, any snow showers out of here in a couple hours. We actually start to clear out later on tonight. Temperatures drop mid-20s for overnight lows. We only go into the mid-40s tomorrow. We do get some mid and upper level clouds in here late in the day, but overall it's Friday. It's decent. St. Patrick's Day. Tomorrow night, mid-20s. So cold night, and then check this out. On Saturday, we stay in the 30s for highs. Plus, it's still kind of windy, so it's going to feel pretty nasty out there over the next couple days. All right, tomorrow, up to 37 by 11, 45 by 3, 46 by 4, mainly into the mid-40s. With the winds, look at our wind chill factors by morning. The way it's going to feel to your skin, about 11, 12, 13 degrees, which is pretty cold. All right, 46. You may find a pot of gold tomorrow. Sunny skies. 39 on Saturday, down to 20. Sunday morning, 44 on Sunday. We do slowly warm up through the week. Thunderstorms again next Thursday, and that will be a chance for severe weather once again.
You know, Friday's the only day out of this entire week that I wish we had some type of rain, you know, just for the opportunity to get a pot of gold, but since it's not on the radar.
No, I've been looking for a pot of gold for 44 years, and I still haven't found one.
Well, you got a lot more life to live, so maybe one day. All right, thank you, Doug. Coming up, trying to calm fears of uncertainty.
The Secretary of the Treasury testifies about the different challenges facing the U.S. economy. I'm Chad Pergram on Capitol Hill. More on that story next.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen appearing on Capitol Hill today for a Senate hearing. She declared inflation is the #1 economic problem the country faces. Senators also asked her about a number of issues, including the U.S. banking system, Social Security, the budget, and a potential debt default. Fox News senior congressional correspondent Chad Pergram reports from Capitol Hill.
We felt that there was a serious risk of contagion that could have brought down and triggered runs on many banks.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen defending the response from the Biden administration and the Federal Reserve regarding the recent failures of 2 U.S. banks. The secretary testified on Capitol Hill Thursday. She answered questions on the major challenges facing the U.S. economy. That includes the battle the Fed is waging to get prices under control.
So do you still see our inflation-driven interest rates hike as, using your words, a plus for society?
I consider high inflation the #1 economic problem that all of us need to face and address. It's the president's top priority.
Yellen also spoke about President Biden's $6.8 trillion budget proposal. It calls for tax increases on the wealthy and corporations in order to help strengthen Social Security and Medicare.
Our proposed budget builds on our economic progress by making smart, fiscally responsible investments.
Republican lawmakers declared the plan dead on arrival in Congress.
When you look at the confluence of concerning economic factors, there is one unavoidable truth. We need to get our fiscal house in order.
Yellen said a failure to raise the debt ceiling would be a recipe for economic and financial catastrophe. On Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
Federal regulators say First Republic Bank now has the lifeline it needs to stay afloat. They say 11 other banks are providing $30 billion in deposits to save it. People familiar with the matter say the consortium involves big names like J.P. Morgan, Chase, Bank of America, and Citigroup. Regulators say their help shows the U.S. banking system is resilient, and some investors seem to agree. Up next, how a man in Arkansas made the discovery of a lifetime at a national park. A large diamond has been discovered at a state park in Arkansas. David Anderson visited the crater of Diamond State Park in Pike County when the park says he discovered a 3.29 carat brown diamond. It is the largest diamond found there this year, but it's not the first diamond Anderson has found at the park. He says he has discovered more than 400 diamonds over the past 16 years, including 15 weighing over 1 carat. His largest may be a 6.19 carat white gem he discovered back in 2014. Well, I don't know why I'm still here. I guess I'm about to go down to the park and dig up some diamonds myself. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. The city of Parsons receives a grant to improve area trails and safety. Plus,
the Biden administration is reportedly telling TikTok's Chinese owners to sell their stakes in the company or face a potential ban in the U.S. I'm Mather Rivera in Washington with how the administration is trying to toughen its stance against the company coming up.
The city of Parsons in Kansas receives a much-needed grant towards trails in the city. KOAM Jana Haldala attended the grant presentation and has more.
On a rainy day like this, you may not see as many people walking or jogging around the trails here in Parsons, Kansas. But the Rotary Club has good news for any residents using the trails, thanks to a T-Mobile grant. Parsons is one of the latest of 25 cities receiving $50,000 from T-Mobile's hometown grants. Ann Charles, grant writer for the Parsons Rotary Club, applied for the grant and they got help for an existing project.
It provided the matching funds necessary for the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Pathways to a Healthy Kansas, $50,000. Totally, it's $100,000.
Local T-Mobile store manager Jason Jones helped Charles to apply for the grant.
She came in, spoke to me briefly. She applied for it. The first time she was denied, so she I don't think she was going to apply again. I talked her into it, and here she is now, receiving $50,000.
He says it's one of the biggest things happening in the city.
We're giving out over $25 million over 5 years with T-Mobile. So Parsons was lucky enough to be one of those 25 this quarter.
The grant provides a paved connection between Frisco and Rotary Trails, on which the city will also install emergency blue light stations that will be connected to the police department.
We don't have to have people worried about walking through the trail regardless of the time of day or any kind of security concerns.
Rotary members emphasize the importance of outdoor trails.
My husband and I go out and walk on the trails periodically. We'll be walking and we run across people we haven't seen for a long time. And just to stop and chat and say hello is really nice.
In Parsons, Janna Hautala, KOAM News.
And Charles estimates everything to be finished later this summer. A Joplin lawyer has received a state award. Robert Johnson of law firm Johnson, Voorhees and Mertucci was named to the 2023 Power List of Healthcare Attorneys by Missouri Lawyers Media. The list recognizes 20 of Missouri's most powerful healthcare attorneys making an impact on the industry. Johnson shared his appreciation for everyone involved.
It is, I think, a reflection of a lot of work from a lot of people that goes into doing our best to get results for people who have had their lives changed because of poor medical care.
Johnson earned his law degree from the University of Kansas in 1991. We're getting new footage of Tuesday's encounter between a U.S. surveillance drone and a Russian fighter jet. U.S. European Command released the newly declassified video, which lasted about 30 to 40 minutes. It shows the MQ-9 Reaper drone's tail and propeller as it flies over the Black Sea. Then a Russian fighter jet approaches. As it draws closer, the aircraft dumps fuel on the drone. Another portion of the video shows the jet making a second pass and dumping fuel once again. The video is then disrupted as the jet collides with the drone. Two acts that give the president authority to use military force in Iraq could be repealed. The Senate voted today to advance a bill repealing two Iraq War Power Acts as lawmakers work to reassert their authority in military intervention abroad. The 68 to 27 vote was largely bipartisan. The 1991 and 2002's authorizations for use of force gave the president authority to order military action in Iraq without approval from Congress. In the toughest stance yet against TikTok, the Biden administration is reportedly threatening a possible ban of the app used by over 100 million Americans. It's a flashpoint in a wider China-U.S. conflict, but not all Americans are on board. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera reports from Washington.
The Biden administration has an ultimatum for TikTok. The White House wants its Chinese owners to divest their stakes in the company or face a potential ban in the U.S.
There's a process here. We try to stay away from that process. Look, we've expressed concerns over China's potential use of software platforms that could endanger or threaten America's safety.
TikTok CEO says a forced sale wouldn't change much, while some politicians say new ownership isn't enough. There is bipartisan concern that the app could present national security risks, with users' private information potentially going to China. A Chinese official said Thursday the U.S. has no evidence of this.
We're concerned about the data mining. I mean, this is 80 to 100 million devices, largely targeted at our youth.
It does scare me a little bit, but will I stop using it? Probably not.
While a ban has support in Congress, Americans are divided. A new poll finds about half support a ban on some foreign technology. Republicans and older respondents favor it more over Democrats and younger people.
There's some informational videos on there I like, how-to videos, and there's some funny content.
TikTok has capitalized on its popularity even amid the backlash, with plans to introduce a feed dedicated to STEM and a new campaign to highlight businesses that have benefited from the app. But critics say it's just a head fake.
This is just a cosmetic fix. It doesn't change the whole idea that it's a place to really get poor information, not proper information, and it's dangerous to our teens.
TikTok CEO is expected to respond to these criticisms at a congressional hearing next week. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
A bit later, taking electric power on the water.
Water and electricity might actually mix when it comes to powering your boat. I'm Eben Brown in Miami. I'll have that story straight ahead.
Well, of course, we had showers. We had thunderstorms for us during the afternoon hours. Now we even have some light little snow showers across parts of southeastern Kansas. And that is what we're going to see as we go through the next few hours. Pretty big storm system here. The heaviest of the rain is now off to our east, eastern parts of Missouri, down through parts of Arkansas. All the big time severe weather down south. These guys, northern parts of Texas, moving into Louisiana. This is the area that's had the large hail, the very high gusty winds, and actually several tornadoes across the region. All right, look at the little band of light snow. Southeastern parts of Kansas. This is fairly light, but you can see really from Erie to Chanute, Iola, it's pretty fast moving. If we track a little bit farther east, moving into Fort Scott, little shower just to the north of Pittsburgh. Once you get over toward Nevada, up toward Stockton Lake, this is not going to amount to much. We may get a dusting in spots as it pushes right on through over the next couple hours. Not a big deal, but it is getting much colder outside. Sitting at 36, northerly winds sustained at 22. Gust, of course, higher than that. Humidity is at 79%. Temperatures dropping. We were in the 60s today. It's 35 Fort Scott, 37 in Independence. Grand Lake sitting at 39, 36th in Carthage. These temperatures are going to go down into the 20s later on tonight due to that guy, the cold front. Look at the colder air that has been working in behind it. Lincoln, you can see Rapid City is sitting at about 28 degrees, 26 in Goodland. So our temperatures are going to be dropping off, and that's what we're going to see as we go through the next couple days. Plus the wind. We have still northerly winds at about 10 to 20. Gusts have been higher than that. If we look at our wind gusts over the past few hours, kind of in that 35 to 40 mile per hour range, and that's what we are going to see as we go through tonight. The winds stay strong, gusts 30 to 40. Now, as we go through the daytime hours tomorrow, they start to back down finally by the evening, but all day it's going to be windy. It's still going to be breezy even by the time we get into Saturday. All right, light snow showers out of here. Next couple hours, we clear out. We drop into the 20s for overnight lows. We have sunshine most of the day tomorrow. We get some mid and upper level clouds in here late in the day. Look at the temps, almost 20 degrees colder than what we saw today. Tomorrow night, clear skies, back down into the mid 20s. Once again, then check this out. Saturday, I mean, I hate seeing this on the weekend, but high temps 35 to about 39 across the region, which is, well, that's just cold. All right, 46 tomorrow, 25 tomorrow night, 39 Saturday, 20 on Sunday morning. A lot of clouds next week, thunderstorms, late Wednesday into Thursday. Some of those could be strong, possibly severe, but at least we get to dry out for a few days.
Yeah, I mean, we've had, a case of rain throughout this week, but now we got a little bit of a break, maybe a little bit next week, but for the most part, that looks good.
Yeah, it'd be nice if the weekend was warmer, but I can't control the weather, unfortunately.
I know a lot of people think you do.
I know.
All right, thank you, Doug. Coming up in sports, first round highlights from the NCAA tournament. We'll see what Kansas and Missouri accomplished this afternoon. Plus, we'll see a preview from the Webb City High School baseball team. Brock Baldridge has all that and more coming up.
Well, the NCAA tournament is in full swing, and the Missouri Tigers are looking for their first tournament win in over 13 years. They had a chance to do that earlier this afternoon against Utah State. In Sacramento, starting off in the first half, Demoy Hodge with a 3-ball. He buries it. He had a game-high 23 points. Zoo up by 7. A few minutes later, Utah State's Sean Barstow throws it down with some authority. Aggies down by 3. Under a minute to go in the half. Steve Ashworth slices through the defense there, gets the bucket. Mizzou is up 4 to end the first half. Second half action now. Mizzou down 2. You see Kobe Brown as he will post up after the steal and the reverse jam. My goodness, what a play that was. It's tied up 49 all, 2 minutes to go. And Mizzou up 8, inbounds play with the corner 3, and that puts this game to bed. Mizzou wins it 76-65 and advances to the round of 32. On to the Midwest region, the defending national champion Kansas Jayhawks in action against the Howard Bison. The first half, Jayhawks up 2. Marcus Dockery drains the 3. Howard up 1. Later in the first, Jayhawks down 1 until KJ Adams says, "Get out of my way." He throws it down for the jam. KU with their first lead. Still in the first, Juan Harris, the alley-oop pass. Grady Dick can't finish, but Jalen Wilson is there to pick him up. The Jayhawks are up by 8. In the second half, Jalen Wilson misses, but Grady Dick gets the rebound right there. And Kevin McCullough with the two-hand slam. KU up 16. The defending champs starting to feel good. Later in the second, Harris shoots but misses. Grady Dick goes up high and down low, and Kansas will go on to win 96-68. Webb City Cardinals kick off the baseball season tomorrow afternoon, hosting Bishop McGuinness Catholic out of Oklahoma City. Today, the Cards got their final practice before hitting the field for Game 1. Webb City was 19-16 overall last season. They won the district's title and state quarterfinals before failing to meet the eventual champion Platte County. This year, the Cardinals return all 3 district starters in the side: Darnell, Kaler, Williams, Hayes. Also, they have a new head coach, and Andrew Downing. He says he likes the talent in the group, especially on the mound.
I think early in the season, our pitching depth is going to be something that's going to carry us along. I think as the season progresses, we'll get better offensively. You know, we're going to have some different guys in the lineup, but I think our pitching depth is something that we're going to be able to really kind of hang our hat on.
Of course, you have me and Kaler, and then a couple other juniors and sophomores that I think are really going to step up. And our hitting is going to come together really well. We have Cy, Kaler, Kinley, Quade Allenstein, Eli. All those guys are all going to step up for us in different ways and make a big-time place for us.
I think at the end of the year we'll be a lot better offensively, and but for sure early on we're going to play defense and pitch.
Well, let's shift gears now to some MLB spring training. The St. Louis Cardinals got shut out by the Houston Astros this afternoon. The Astros beat the Cards 3-0. Benjamin Donovan went 2 for 3 in that one. And the Kansas City Royals were also in action as they defeated the Oakland Athletics in a 2-0 final. As Franmil Reyes went 3 for 3 with an RBI double.
Man, so March Madness is back.
Yeah.
We got 2 teams in our region
Absolutely.
with pretty good outings today.
Well, the Kansas Jayhawks, they have not lost a game in the first round since 2006.
Man, and then I saw a stat where the last 5 teams to win the Natty were all #1 seeds. So,
yeah.
I mean, as far as that goes, Jayhawks looking pretty good. All right, we're back with more after this. As electric vehicles become more popular and widespread, a Florida-based company wants to make fueling your boats as simple as plugging it into an outlet. Fox's Evan Brown has more from Miami.
Electric cars are all the rage these days, led by brands such as Tesla and new investments from traditional auto manufacturers. And now a new company is hoping that trend will reach all the way to the water. But there's just one problem. You can't just take EV automotive technology and put it in a boat.
A boat is operating in a hydrodynamic state, which basically means it has to push a lot of water out of the way, which is less efficient than pushing air out of the way.
But the folks at Voltari have a solution. The company is unveiling the world's first fully electric performance boat. It's run entirely on batteries. There are 0 emissions, but that doesn't mean you have to worry about running out of power on the open sea. Voltari recently completed a 91-mile trip from Key Largo to the Bahamas, all on a single charge.
The biggest challenge was figuring out how we could get all of the lithium-ion battery packs integrated into a hull without having to sacrifice, usable boating space.
Ultimately, the hope is to create enough demand to shift the market to a new standard, which the company says is a win for boaters because they'll no longer have to line up to pay for fuel.
We work tirelessly to remove some of those things about boating that people aren't so excited about. It's not just electric boating, it's more fun boating.
The recently passed infrastructure bill contains $7 billion for EV charging stations. It's not clear if any will be on the water. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
10 years ago, Google launched its augmented reality eyewear, Google Glass. The product only lasted a couple years because it was so expensive and had a clunky design. But then in 2017, Google tried again, this time marketing the tech for industrial uses in sectors like manufacturing and logistics. The $1,000 product failed again, and the company announced it's finally pulling the plug. The idea of augmented reality, though, isn't dead. Google said it's testing other AR glasses, and Apple is too. Coming up, how virtual performers are changing the future of the music industry. A new pop group is giving us a glimpse of how the music industry could evolve in the future. Fox News correspondent Marian Rafferty takes a closer look.
Believe it or not, these 4 singers aren't real people. They're virtual performers in the new South Korean K-pop group called MAVE.
Make new wave. 안녕하세요, 메이브입니다.
Using artificial intelligence and motion capture technology, programmers are able to design and control each band member's facial expressions and body movements.
웨이브를 처음 봤는데
It was a little confusing to tell whether they were humans or virtual characters. It looked really real.
Currently, MAVE is taking the digital world by storm. The band recently released their first album called Pandora's Box. A video of them performing their debut single was also broadcast on a local South Korean TV show. And one of their music videos on YouTube has already racked up more than 18 million views.
Fans got very used to consuming K-pop culture online during the coronavirus pandemic, and they tend to stay longer on online platforms, so they are pretty interested in virtual idols.
To help the band establish a loyal fan base and grow its popularity, the creators behind MAVE are trying to make them appear like human pop stars, creating videos and pictures of them in recording studios and dance rehearsals, and posting them to their social media accounts.
되게 신기했고, I use metaverse platforms with my friends often, so it's familiar to me, and I feel like I could become their fan.
MAVE's programmers say the group is set to appear in a video game sometime this month. The group is also expected to perform in more online projects in the future. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight, and thank you all so much for joining us. But before you go, we'll leave you with a video of tiger cubs at an Australian zoo. Be safe, and we will do this all again tomorrow. See you then.